Right. Welcome to Little Steps to Epic Month. I am chatting with Lesley Tait. Lesley, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, so I am a menopause coach, and my work focuses more on the emotional and psychological effects of menopause on women, menopause, perimenopause, postmenopause, because I think we're all very familiar with the physical symptoms, but I don't think enough attention is paid to the emotional and psychological impacts of this on women. And it really is a huge part of it. And anyone listening to this who's struggling with anxiety or low moods or feeling that disconnection from themselves or just completely lost their identity and is wondering who they are and what sort of person they've become will resonate with that. And so that's my work. It's about mindset. It's about embracing perimenopause. It's about seeing it in a totally different way and actually seeing it as a golden time in your life, a time where everything shifts. But if you shift with it and if you move with it, it can be quite enlightening, and you can really drop into your own sense of self and get really reconnected with yourself. And I know that some people will say, no, it's not a golden time, it's hideous. Yes, I know it's hideous, it can be, but this is why Emily and I are here to help, because
Exactly.
and all the other experts, because we've all got our own kind of niche in terms of menopause. There is so much to cover. I don't think you can be an all singing, all dancing menopause expert. You know, there is so much there to work on, and it's also different for different women as well. So and one of the reasons why I wanted to focus on that in terms of my niche is because my anxiety and my mental health really suffered when I got into perimenopause, so much so that I had a complete breakdown. I had to take time out. I had 3 months off work, and then I could only go back to work after 3 months for 1 hour a day, and that was enough at times. So that should give an indication as to just how bad I got. And I just thought, it doesn't need to get this bad. Having worked through it myself, and then had a pivot in terms of my career, retrained as a coach, retrained as an emotional well-being coach. I just want to help other women get a handle on this and actually seize it as an opportunity to really shift and make the most of who you are right now, because actually at this age we're at our best. We're mature, we know ourselves, we've got life experience, we're wise, and we've got so much going for us. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
And this absolutely, everything you've just said there ties in with whole Little Steps to Epic Month, is, this idea that actually trying to tackle all of perimenopause is really daunting, but actually finding those one or two little bits, those little simple changes that you can make, whether that's around mindset, whether that's around nutrition or whatever. And obviously each expert is coming at this from a different point of view, but that's why this month's topic is exactly that, because it isn't about needing to do huge changes necessarily.
No, it's not. It really can be just simple tweaks. But I do think that quite often, and I think we're all guilty of this, we we try and solve things for ourselves, and that's perfectly normal. We've got a problem, we want to fix it, and we try and fix it with a solution, and we don't give it enough time. We don't give we don't give our bodies and our minds time to kind of process what we're doing and adapt to it, and so we give up quite quickly. And I've been guilty of this with this topic that we're going to talk about today. It's about being patient with yourself, it's about trusting the process, and it's about being consistent, because if we consistently make small changes every day, after a week we're not going to see massive results. No, we're not. But after a month or after 2 months, we're going to see major shifts in whatever it is we're trying to change. And that puts us on a trajectory of our lives moving upwards and towards more success. And equally, you know, if we do the easier thing, which is not make any subtle changes or little tweaks, it's dead easy, isn't it, not to do anything. Are we going to notice a difference? Yeah, we are. We're going to notice that, but we're going to be on a downward trajectory, and that's where we spiral into this really kind of self-defeating mindset, and that's where the monkey mind starts chipping in and telling you you're no good, and it eats away at your confidence, and then you get lower and lower. So it's really, really important to have tiny little habits, but it's really important just to stick with them. I say consistency is absolutely everything when you're trying to make a shift, and pick just one thing. Don't, like you said, don't just try and fix everything at once, because that's when you go into overwhelm, and that's when you give up, and you have another, and then you start talking to yourself again. That voice in your head says, you're no good, you can't do this, this is the end of the world, what are you going to do? Start catastrophizing all those thoughts. So just pick one thing. And I like to call them stackable habits. So pick one tiny thing and make it a habit, you know, stick at it for a month, and then it becomes part of your life. And then stack another habit on top of that and go with that, and then keep doing that. And, you know, within sort of 2 or 3 months, you've probably shifted your lifestyle quite considerably, but you haven't actually felt it's a major change. So that would be my advice in terms of tiny little habits.
So is there any one, what would be the one little stackable habit that you would suggest people start with?
Well, for me, when I was at my absolute worst, the first thing I did was I started to read personal development books, and I made a commitment. I was going to read one chapter of a book every morning, and I found a book. And I'm a bit skeptical when people say a book, I read this book and it changed my life. And I think, really, did it? But this book really did, actually. And it changed my mindset completely. And it motivated me completely. And it was called The Slice Edge by Jeff Olson. And he talks about habits, and how habits, healthy habits, are the route to success or failure in whatever it is that you're doing in life, whatever it is you're trying to change. And so that was the thing I started with. I read it, I made a commitment, 10 minutes every morning, I was going to read this book. And that just became a habit for me. And it's something that I've done for the last 2 years. Every morning, part of my morning routine is I get up and I read a chapter of the book. And then once that became normal routine for me, then I started to add on to that, and I'd read my book and I'd journal. So I would just write whatever came up for me. And I heard about journaling and I thought, I can't see how that's going to help me, but it did. You know, it's a private place where I can write things down, no matter how silly. It's just a place where I can offload everything that I think and feel. So I started doing that. And again, I've been doing that. I've been journaling for the last couple of years. So I get up, I read my book, I do my journaling. And then the next thing was to start meditating, which has been the hardest thing, because, you know, I used to think if to meditate, I'd have to wear lots of beads and, I don't know, run off to the hills and give up all my life luxuries. You know, I had such a simplistic, narrow-minded view of meditation. But then I started learning about meditation, and I just simplified it in that, you know, it's just a really simple way of me quietening my mind and having some alone time. And I started doing it, and I thought, this is really hard. I don't like this. And I persevered and I persevered. And I'll be really honest, it's not something I do every single day, but I do it most days. And I actually like to do it now. Sometimes I go out and sit in the woods and meditate. And if you'd have said to, like 3 years ago, I would say that to myself, I would have said, what kind of freak does that? But I love it. because I love trees. I just have a thing about trees and nature, so I do that. Yeah, so I have this morning routine now. I get up early, I read a book, I chat with a book, I journal, sometimes I do some meditation, and then I either go for a walk or I go training, and then I come back, I eat my breakfast, shower, have breakfast, and I am so set up for the day. And what that does for me, I start the day on my terms. I get everything clear in my head. I'm really clear about my intention for that day. I can wake up feeling like shit, and within an hour, I feel energized, motivated, and that there's nothing that anyone can throw at me that I can't handle. And that's the difference. I can go from zero to hero in an hour just by following those tiny little habits.
And what I love about that is, excuse me, you've added positive things. There hasn't been any berating yourself or beating yourself and things. It's all been adding positive things.
Yeah, and it's been really, it's been really easy as well. It's because I've broken it down into such small, tiny pieces. It has been really easy, and yeah, I know that people say, oh, I don't really have time to read 10 minutes of a book or a chapter of a book or write in a journal. Actually, you do. If you've got time to scroll through social media,
yeah,
okay, I know it sounds harsh. If you've got time to scroll through social media, if you've got time to watch Netflix, if you've got time to, I don't know, gossip on the phone with somebody, you've got time to invest in yourself. And yeah, sometimes the hours in the day are stretched beyond belief. And then I just thought, well, where is my downtime? My downtime is in the evenings when me and my husband, quite often, we can probably get 3 hours of TV in the evening. And I just thought, really? Do I need to watch another episode of Ozark? Do I really? Or could I go to bed at 9 o'clock and then get up at 5 and do all this in the morning and then have the whole day to do whatever I need to do? And I thought, no, I can't get up at 5. And actually I could. I could, because I started just going to bed a little bit earlier and a little bit earlier and getting up a little bit earlier and a little bit earlier, until I actually found that I love going to bed at 9 and getting up at 5, because I love the morning time when it's quiet and everyone else is still asleep, and there's something really magical and peaceful about it. So yeah, so I've rambled on there. I've gone off on a bit of a tangent, but
but no, that's, I mean, I'm going to just quickly summarize. It's basically finding those little things that you want to add into your life or make big changes.
Yeah, it is. Small things add up to big changes. I think that's the message there. Then that brings us on to sleep, which is something else I wanted to talk about. Because I know it is right up there in the list of anxieties for perimenopausal women. Let's face it, sleep's probably an issue for people of any gender, whatever's going on in your life. None of us are getting enough sleep, and it's not overrated, because it's so fundamental to our health, to our physical health and our mental health. And I know what it's like to be sleep deprived, because prior to perimenopause, I've had insomnia all my life.
Okay.
And when people tell me they've tried everything, I know how it feels to have tried everything. Like, I would eat lettuce sandwiches before I went to sleep. I would drink cherry juice. Because lettuce is supposed to contain tryptophan, which is supposed to stimulate is it the melatonin? Yeah, melatonin. I was desperate. And so when perimenopause kicked in, I honestly, I was this crazy witch from hell, because I wouldn't sleep for 2 or 3 days. And then when I did sleep, I got 4 hours of very poor quality sleep. And I was on my knees and I had to sort this out. I really had to figure it out. And I'm really pleased to say that probably for the last 2 years, my sleep's been better than ever, and I'm still in perimenopause. So there's a lot to be said for routines and habits when it comes to sleep. Now, I know I put a post on in the group about this, and there was a bit of a, I've tried everything and it doesn't work, and menopausal insomnia is different to every other kind of insomnia. And okay, I just want to say, if you've tried everything, I understand where you're coming from, and I do understand what it's like not to sleep. And I think that trying everything is probably part of the problem. I can see that now with me. So I think what is really useful to, first of all, understand is the model of insomnia. And what often happens if we've had a bad night for whatever reason, what we try to do is make some quick changes, natural. So I've had a bad night. I feel in my head, I'm telling myself I need to go to bed earlier. But that's completely the wrong thing to do. Don't go to bed earlier, because what you're doing is you're interfering with your natural sleep drive. So imagine your sleep drive is an elastic band, and when you wake up in the morning, your elastic band's all floppy, and from the moment you wake up, that band is being pulled tighter and tighter and tighter, until when you go to bed, it's as tight as it can be and it can't be stretched anymore, and you get into bed and ideally you fall asleep. What going to bed early does for you, it means that you haven't built up that sleep drive and you haven't built up that appetite to sleep. So you go to bed early, you lie in bed, you're still awake, and you're thinking, why am I awake? I didn't sleep well last night. I'm getting up in the morning, I'm getting anxious. Why am I not sleeping? And instead of drifting off into a lovely sleep, you just get more and more anxious, and then your bed becomes associated with not sleeping. Bed becomes associated with anxiety. We've all had it when we've been lying on the sofa and we've fallen asleep, we've gone to bed. The moment we get into bed, we're wide awake.
Yeah.
Ping! It's because that cycle I just explained, repeated over a period of time, has us associating bed with getting into bed, waking up, thinking, and getting anxious. So we have to break that cycle. So routines are really important, but it's the right routine that's really important. So I say the first thing we've got to do is increase the sleep drive. So figure out, what's really useful is to figure out how much sleep you're getting on a night, on an average. So for example, if you get 6 hours sleep, there's no point in getting into bed at 10 and trying to get up at 6, because you're giving your body a window of 8 hours and you're saying to your body, you pick and choose when you go to sleep. So if you're going to sleep for 6 hours a night, I would say get into bed at midnight, set your alarm for 6. Don't go to bed before midnight. When you do get into bed, you're likely to have built up that sleep drive, built up that appetite, and you're more likely to fall asleep. And then when the alarm goes off in the morning, get up with the alarm, no matter how tired you are. Get up with the alarm, go about your day, and just repeat that cycle for a few days or a week. And what you're telling your body is that this is your window to sleep. It's the only opportunity you've got, and you're going to train your body clock to recognize that that is its time for sleep. And you need to do that on a regular basis. And I'd say, and I was guilty of falling into this trap as well. Okay, I'm going to do this Monday to Friday because I need to go to work. And then at the weekend, I'm going to stay up until midnight or whatever time. And I'm going to lie until 9 o'clock. It doesn't work. You have to maintain this routine. Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. And I know we've all got social lives. We all like to go out and see people and do things. But try and try and get into bed as close to your normal bedtime as possible. So if you're one of these people, I do go to bed early. So if you're one of these people that goes to bed early, if you've got into bed a bit later, temptation is to sleep later in the morning, don't. If you're getting into bed 2 hours later than you normally would, get up at the same time the next morning. And I know it's hell on earth, you know, especially in the winter when it's so nice and cozy in bed, unless you're like me, which woke up in a hot sweat this morning, which was particularly unpleasant, but but yeah, don't lie in bed in the morning, and then the next night go to bed at the normal time. Don't think, I had a late night, I got up early, I need to go to bed earlier. And then the other thing I would say is, what's really common is people with racing minds. So they get into bed, like we've just said, you know, fall asleep on the sofa. I got into bed and all of a sudden I'm thinking about everything. And my thoughts would just get so out of control. I could think of the most random things. And if I shared what I would think about during the night with I would say a normal person, but I am a normal person, but you know what I mean, they would look at me and say, well, have you been taking drugs? Because why would your brain go there? And why would you think those things? But it's just so easy for our minds to lose control. So what happens is, rarely during the day, and we're all really, really busy, but rarely do we find the time to just process our thoughts and acknowledge what we're thinking. So I would say in the evening, at any point during the evening, just give yourself 20 minutes and write a list of things, everything you need to do, everything that you're worried about, everything that you're processing. Just write it all down. Don't do it on a phone, because the process of writing it on paper is really therapeutic. So just write it all down. And if you want to, you can start making lists and you can start planning and you can start challenging. But I would say only spend about 20 minutes or so on this, and then go off and do something else. And what that's doing is it's telling your mind that you've acknowledged the thought. And then that thought is less likely to be intrusive later on in the evening, or when you wake up in the morning, or in the early hours of the morning. So, and you know what? You can write the silliest things down on a piece of paper, because nobody has to see it. It's where you really empty what's in your head, but also what you feel in your heart, what you're feeling in your body. You can write any word. The sentences don't have to make sense. It's just so therapeutic. What else was I going to say? And I think that works if you're struggling to sleep, or if you're one of these people who can actually get to sleep but you're waking up in the morning. Now, if you do that in the evening, you're less likely to wake up in the night and start thinking about these things, because, as I say, you've told your mind, I acknowledge this. And when you wake up in the early hours and these thoughts come into your head, you can think, okay, what will happen is, I've got this, I know about it, I'm dealing with it, and then it's more likely to go away. The other aspect of waking up in the night, and I know this is a big problem for perimenopausal women, particularly if you're having hot flushes. The previous model applies. So if you've woken up in the night, you're really tired, really try and get up with the alarm. Get up with the alarm, build up that sleep drive during the day, go to bed at the normal time, or go to bed at that optimum time. So if you are only getting 6 hours, just give yourself that 6 hour window. It feels a bit like sleep deprivation, but and it sounds counterintuitive, but actually getting into a bit of sleep deprivation to improve your sleep is the basic starting point to get into that routine. But if you're waking up in the night, for me, never stay in bed longer than 10 minutes. If I'm not asleep, within a few minutes, I will get up. I get out of bed. Just that process of getting up and out of bed is kind of resetting your thinking. And and move out of the bedroom, because again, what you don't want to do is associate the bedroom with not sleeping, and tossing and turning and anxiety. So I would say get up, go to a different room, read a book, watch TV, you know, but nothing too stimulating. What you don't want to do is start to reawaken too many thoughts and stimulate, because what you're the purpose of getting up and out of bed is to do something else until you feel sleepy, really naturally sleepy, and then going back to bed. And then, you know, I do this, I get up, make myself a warm drink, there's nothing with caffeine in it, probably go into another room, do some journaling, I write down what's stopping me sleeping. I start to feel sleepy, I go back and get into bed, and I'm back to sleep straight away.
These are all tiny steps, really, aren't they? And I think when people say, "Oh, I've tried everything," I'm sure people have tried everything. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not for a second saying people haven't.
Totally believe that.
But potentially people haven't stuck at those little steps.
Yeah.
You know, long enough for it to sort of have an impact. And I think, you know, certainly around sleep, you know, several different peri symptoms really impact on everyday life, but a lack of sleep is one that is just so insidious, isn't it? And once you've got into that bad cycle, it impacts on everything. And you know, I think there's a lot of things out there on the market that are sort of trying to offer a quick fix, when actually, unfortunately, it is about having better habits around. You know, it's all the stuff we talked about, and it is making those little steps. And as with everything else, it's finding one step and consistently doing it, and then adding another step and consistently doing it. And it's difficult, you know, because if you are feeling absolutely wrung out and exhausted and all the rest, then you know, you kind of run out of patience to try the things. But the thing you've said is eminently doable for anybody who is prepared to give it the time to let it bed in.
And that's the thing, it is trusting. You know, we're meant to sleep, our bodies are designed to sleep, you will sleep. The more anxious we get about sleep, the more we try. I've tried every over-the-counter medication. I mean, aside, there's nothing out there that's really going to work for you long term other than sleeping tablets, and nobody wants to go down that road. And you don't get good quality sleep with sleeping tablets. You don't repair, your brain doesn't repair, your body doesn't repair, because it's not giving you the quality of sleep that you need. So they are very, very, very addictive, and they're very short term, because you need to get natural nourishing sleep as opposed to forced sleep. But yeah, I totally agree. You know, I don't doubt that people have tried everything, and as I said in the beginning, trying everything is part of the problem. We are so wrung out, as you said. Our anxiety levels are so high. We are desperate for sleep. We'll try anything. I mean, I even begged my husband to go to the doctors to get me sleeping tablets because they wouldn't give me any. Do you know, I was at my wit's end. I just thought, I've got to sleep. I'm crazy. It's just, but nothing worked apart from me really understanding why my body sleeps and working with that natural rhythm of sleep. And it is really small habits. And if you just take the pressure off yourself and say, do you know what, it's fine, I know I will sleep, I know my body will sleep eventually. Take the pressure off yourself and just try one thing and just do it consistently. And then you can add to that. You know, we talk about temperature of the bedroom, we talk about the quality of the bed linen, we talk about not having any devices in the bedroom. That's all great advice. But if you're worrying about all of that at the same time, you're worrying about sleep too much. The more we focus on it, the less we're likely to get it. The other thing to remember is, and this was a really big turning point for me, is when I understood that nobody sleeps through the night. And I always thought that I was in the minority because I've never slept through the night. Very, very rarely. I still don't. However, nobody sleeps through the night because we go through these sleep cycles during the night. And when we transition from sleep cycle to sleep cycle, we do wake up. But the thing is that some of us are better at getting back to sleep than others. And some of us remember waking up when others don't. So if you say to someone, oh yeah, I slept like a baby, went to sleep at 10, didn't wake up till 6, great. Well, actually, no, they didn't. They did wake up. They just don't remember waking up, and they're very, very good at going back to sleep. Knowing that really took the pressure off me, because I realized, actually, yeah, it's normal to wake up during the night. I'm just not that good at getting back to sleep. So waking up during the night and having all those things racing around my head really helped me to just get them out of my head before I went to bed, so that they weren't tapping into me when I woke up in the early hours of the morning saying, hi, I'm here, I've forgotten about all these things you've got to do. So yeah, over stressing about sleep means that we're not going to get sleep, and when we do get to sleep, we're just going to wake up in the night. So 3 tips: shorten the time in bed, figure out your opportunity to sleep. So if you're only sleeping for 6 hours, spend 6 hours in bed. Get up in the morning with the alarm, get up nice and early, go to bed at that time every day, every night, get up at that same time every morning, right the way through the weekend. Have a good long go at this. Do it for a month. Tell your body what its optimum time for sleep is. Turn the clock away once you've set the alarm. Turn the clock away. Do not look at the clock during the night. Do not do that. That's just going to add to your anxiety. If you wake up during the night and you can't get back to sleep, 10 minutes tops, I would say. Lie there, forget about sleeping. The moment we forget about sleeping, we will go to sleep. It's like I've said so many times, I just nodded off and the alarm went off. Yeah, it's because I gave up trying to sleep. I took the pressure off myself. So just lie there for 10 minutes and relax. And if you still can't sleep, get up, go to another room, warm cup of something, journal, read a book, wait until you're sleepy, go back and get into bed. And do that exercise of processing your thoughts and making that list of your worries and your to-do list, and just 20 minutes in an evening, just so that it's out of your head and onto a piece of paper. And those 3 things, I think, are really my top tips. And you start with one of them.
Yeah.
Start with one.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much, Lesley.
You're welcome. And I also have my own relaxation routine that I do when I get into bed, which really helps me. And when I'm lying in bed, I relax and I just think about the bed underneath me supporting me, and I just really try and relax into the bed. And then I start relaxing every tiny piece of my body. So I start with the top of my head, and I'm going to relax my scalp now, and I really focus, spend some time on each part of my head, my forehead, my eyes, everything, my gums, my teeth, everything. And it's amazing how long it takes me to relax every little part of my face. However, it sounds crazy, but I had no idea that I was trying to get to sleep so tense. That even like my eyes were so tense, my jaw was so tense. When we relax our jaw, the rest of our face relaxes. And I just really, really focus on that. And I rarely get past my head before I've nodded off into sleep. And you can do it from your feet upwards or head downwards. And it also takes your mind off other thoughts that are going on in your head as well. So maybe a little relaxation technique when people get into bed.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Well, that's great. Thank you.